Street Talk! Yeah!
Welcome to Street Talk. I am your host, Jason, and this is for Sunday, December the 28th. Took a little bit of extended time off from Street Talk. No big deal. Don't want you guys to think this is going away in any way. Just had to sort of regroup, got back from vacation, did the Christmas thing, so a little bit of vacation for the old Street Talk. But we're back better than ever, and we got some really good things planned for you come January, so just stick with us because the sky is the limit, as they say. So we're heading up to the end of the month. We really, probably no one's going to catch the leader at this point, but I know a lot of you guys play in money groups. I know a lot of you guys are trying to set personal records. Monthly players are obviously still very involved. There are a lot of days left, still 10 grand up for grabs. So assuming you survived a very difficult stunt day on Christmas, maybe your streak's still intact, maybe you're just trying to build some momentum for the next month, I figured why not break down the last game of the regular season, the Pittsburgh Steelers hosting the Cincinnati Bengals. Well, we have an AFC North divisional matchup, and it's going to be probably a nip and tuck game. We'll get into that as we break it down. But I also figured why not go ahead and also break down the first half prop as well. Who will have more receiving yards in the first half? AJ Green for the Bengals or Antonio Brown for the Steelers. So when we just take a look at the line, Pittsburgh minus 3.5. Got that extra half point. If we look at that money line and remove the VIG, the implied percent is that Steelers at a 61.4% favorite to win this game. A lot of the computer simulations had them a little bit higher, maybe 65, 66%. So you're actually getting a little bit of value if you wanted to bet that Pittsburgh money line. On the defensive side of the ball, we always sort of have Pittsburgh as that stout defense, stop the run, stop the pass, etc. Statistically, it hasn't quite played out like that this year. In fact, the Bengals, as you'll see, are a little bit better statistically than the Steelers. Pittsburgh, 6th versus the rush, so they still have that sort of stout run defense, 99 yards a game. Cincinnati down quite a bit on that, 23rd in the league versus the run at 122 yards a game. Versus the pass, though, Pittsburgh 27th in the league. A lot of their secondary getting a little bit older, Troy Polamalu, etc. Can't quite cover like they used to. Plus, Pittsburgh has actually been putting up some points, so teams are going to probably pass more to catch up. So they're at 27th in the league, 255 yards a game. Meanwhile, Cincinnati 16th in the league at 238 yards a game. Points-wise, Cincinnati 9th in the league at 21.1 points allowed per game. Pittsburgh 19th in the league, 23.4 yards a game. Not yards, sorry, points per game. But when we look on the offensive side of the ball, we get something we're not really accustomed to seeing. If we look at the sort of historical view of Pittsburgh, we think of a stout defense, run the ball, pound the ball, control the clock. This year, Big Ben really airing it out, and in fact, they have the second-ranked passing offense in the league. So, their offense second-ranked going against Cincinnati's 16th-ranked passing defense. Advantage Steelers. 13th in the league running the ball. Le'Veon Bell really had a great year. Probably the MVP. Perhaps maybe you could argue with DeMarco Murray as far as fantasy run, especially running backs, but maybe overall fantasy players this year. Just had a really breakout year, catching the ball, running the ball, putting up huge monster weeks. So Pittsburgh obviously going to lean on him in this game, catching the ball and catching the ball in the backfield and running the ball. Now, as I mentioned, Pittsburgh's pass defense 27th. However, Cincinnati's pass offense 22nd. So we got sort of a weakness versus weakness there. But Cincinnati is the 5th ranked rushing offense in the league. So 5th ranked offense versus 6th ranked Pittsburgh defense. weakness versus weakness, strength versus strength. We've seen that in a couple of breakdowns in the recent weeks. As far as the first half prop goes, obviously we're going to probably be leaning toward Antonio Brown. He's leading the league in receiving yards, had really a monster year. AJ Green has had a pretty good year, but he's been injured. If we just look at the splits, first half splits, Antonio Brown averaging 57 yards in the first half, AJ Green averaging 44 yards in the first half. So that's advantage Brown. On top of that, I actually threw out 2 games in which AJ Green did not record a catch at all because he got injured. One of those being this past Monday night. Had the arm injury, sort of played off and on throughout the game, but was not effective. Really, basically a non-factor the rest of the game versus Denver. So that, with that sort of lingering injury, I really would lean heavily on Antonio Brown. Seems like a pretty solid pick. The one caveat, both of these two teams, of course the division rivals, played a couple weeks ago in Cincinnati. Pittsburgh blew them out 42-21. Antonio Brown had 117 yards in that game, but that was nothing compared to AJ Green's 224 yards in that game with 15 targets. So that's the only thing that causes me to pause slightly on this. Is this happened just a few weeks ago and AJ Green curb stomped him. So I'm going to go Brown basically because the averages and the lingering arm injury. But I don't know if I would pin a huge streak, if you still have one at this point, on that type of first half prop. One thing to note, Pittsburgh 5-2 at home, Cincinnati 5-2 on the road. So really 2 solid teams going against each other. But interestingly enough, Pittsburgh has allowed at least 23 points in every home game this year on defense, except for one, and that was a couple weeks ago versus the Chiefs, who we know have a pretty anemic offense. And so they've allowed some pretty big point totals. Might be a little wink-wink look at the over for all you bettors out there. I'm going to go with Pittsburgh at home. It is a division rivalry game. Anything can happen. I know you can throw out the records. But Cincinnati played on Monday night against a very tough Denver team. As we mentioned, AJ Green got nicked up. How much do they have left in the tank? Can potential Rookie of the Year candidate Jeremy Hill run on that pretty formidable Pittsburgh Steelers run defense? I don't think that they can get it done at home, especially with the way Big Ben is passing the ball. He's got Bell running the ball. Even Wheaton on the outside is coming along. We've already mentioned what a weapon Brown is. I just don't really see Pittsburgh losing this game. That half point would scare me if I were laying some money on them. It could come down to one of those like 3-point games either way. Possibly closer than that. I don't know. But I think Pittsburgh gets this done. I hope you guys enjoy it. We will see you next time on Street Talk.